Greetings from a galaxy far, far away. This is the Future of Star Wars podcast, brought to you by Fandom Empire. I am your host, Johnny. It is truly a pleasure to be here with you on this fine Tuesday evening if you're watching live, or whenever it is you happen to be watching us, wherever you're watching us from. Like I said, I'm your host, Johnny. It's truly a pleasure to be here with you guys on this fine evening discussing all of the fun of Star Wars out there in the universe. Of course, we got lots of great stuff in store for you guys tonight. Obviously, we're talking about movies, talking games, and we have a trivia matchup in store for you guys. It's going to be a great night, and I'm really excited for it. Now, of course, I'm not alone. I'm here with my usual, my friends in Dillany and Scumming and just all around awesomeness that we like to. Yeah, you know, yeah, you definitely you. On my right, Sean, how you doing tonight, buddy?
I thought that we made a valiant effort last week to get through the show with how sick we were. That was an effort, and I think we even did a second show afterwards, anyways. So that went longer than intended. I'm definitely better than I was then, but I'm still not anywhere near 100%. So I'm thankful that you host the show and not me.
Well, it's a tough job, but somebody's got to do it. And on my other side, Randy, how you doing tonight?
Not doing too bad. Just ready to talk some Star Wars. Been gaming it up with the new Call of Duty, being a little disappointed in it, but you know that's just how it is when launch happens with most AAA titles nowadays. So what else I was gonna expect? So, but should be a fun night tonight. I'm excited to see what we got going.
Well, like I said, I'm certainly excited to have all you guys here. And of course, if you're watching this on YouTube, don't forget to hit the thumbs up button, like, comment, subscribe, / notification bell to keep up with all of the content from all of us here at Fandom Empire. And of course, if you're looking for us in other places, you can check us out on X or Twitter, whichever your preferred nom de guerre is on that, and Facebook at Fandom Empire now. And if you're looking for additional content, you can, of course, always check out our Patreon program at patreon.com/fandomempire, where after this show, assuming this show doesn't run too long, you can catch a brief Wastelands of Fandom after show where we talk about whatever the heck we want to talk about. Last week, we talked more Star Wars, games, and sports, and wrestling. So who knows? It'll be whatever we want it to be after every show on Patreon. I don't know what tier that's available to, but it'll tell you. All tiers over on Patreon. And now this week, we're still early in the show's run. This is the 4th episode now. So, as always, we're adding and tweaking and adding new segments. And this week, we decided we'd send out a segment for you guys, the fans of this show. And it's the multiple choice question of the week. And we want you guys to comment down below on the video or Twitter or Facebook, wherever you're at, and answer the question of the week. And this week's question is,
It's a simple one. Sorry, the image is not loading. So, did you like, yes or no, did you like Lars Mikkelsen's portrayal of Thrawn in Star Wars Ahsoka? Simple yes or no in the comment section. Let us know. We would love to hear. I loved it, although I love Lars. Lars is great in House of Cards as well. He always delivers. So
Lars is just great altogether. It's like Sean said, multiple choice isn't really multiple choice weeks. Yes or no? Lars Mikkelsen's portrayal of Thrawn. Did you like it? Yes or no? And if you want to expand on that, go right ahead and let us know in the comments. And I don't know if we're gonna do this, but I'm sure next week's show we'll highlight some answers. So put your answers in, and we'll talk about the best ones a little bit next week as we do next week's multiple choice question of the week. See, somebody's not even waiting for the comment section, just answering in live chat. All right. Well, we promised this week we'd have an epic trivia matchup, and we will. But before we get to that, we have some routine stuff we want to cover with these fine gentlemen while we have them. But before we get to that, of course, introductions are in order. So first off, joining us is the co-host of well, they're both the hosts of IPC, so I guess that's sort of an unnecessary statement to add. They're both co-hosts of IPC, so it applies to both. Well, this man is also a host on the Legacy of Westeros sister channel for Fandom Empire, and he's the man behind Zach Arnold Productions. Zach Arnold, how you doing, buddy?
It's a pretty easy name to remember, isn't it? It's just Zach Arnold, and then there's Zach Arnold Productions. I'm really excited to be here. I remember the last time Ben and I went head to head in a trivia match. It was down to the very last question, down to the wire, and he was kind of surprised that I was the mystery guest. Like, I even wrote him privately before that episode and was like, "Do you know who your surprise guest is? Do you know who it's going to be?" And I was like,
God.
I was like hyping him up and going, well, whoever he is, that guy doesn't stand a chance. Like, I was like really inflating his ego and stuff. And then boom, I show up and he's like, "Ah, you got me."
So that was pregame mental.
That was a fun one, but this has been a long time coming. It's been well in the making, and I'm really excited to finally have the chance to kick this guy's ass once and for all.
And of course,
I'm shaking in my boots over here.
And of course, we have the man in the other corner. He is also co-host of IPC and Star Wars Outer World. And he's a contributor at Culture Slate. Also, the Canadian television voice of Star Wars for some reason.
Indeed,
Every time there's a Star Wars topic, he shows up on our television. It's not like we have Canadian experts or anything, but I digress. And Art, how you doing, buddy?
I am doing phenomenal and glad to be back. And I'm I have no comment about the smack talk I've been hearing. I will let my mind do the talking when it comes to trivia. I genuinely don't know what to expect because I think we're both pretty knowledgeable about these sort of things. I do have a couple of trivia championships under my belt. I'm just saying.
Well, this is true. It's certainly a pleasure having you back with us. You've been a frequent staple of our different Star Wars projects throughout the years. So it's always nice to hear your lovely voice or see your face in this instance.
Can I just say how reassuring it is, or how at ease I feel that Ben is on the screen and there's not this tower of Star Wars stuff that I'm afraid is going to trample him to death midstream. The last time he was on, I think he had a Funko Pop collection that was it might have been Funko Pops. I don't know what it was.
Oh yeah, it was Funko Pops.
Oh yeah, it's Funko.
Like, that's still coming down.
He still has those.
I recently revamped the whole thing. I'm in a different location now. This is not my official studio. This is my auxiliary studio.
So you're in the cave.
Yeah, basically. Weirdly, I'm at the top of my house, so it's a whole thing. It's a whole thing. I'm not going to get into it right now. But point is, the Funko Pops, they exist, but they're in a box now. They did not kill me. They did not. The TIE Fighter is still up there. If you watch Star Wars Underworld, it's still up there, above me, and it's threatening to come down and crush me to death at some point, which it very well could.
TIE Fighters are known to do evil things, I guess.
Yeah.
All right, now that we've got the introduction housekeeping out of the way, let's move on to our first topic. Since we have these fine gentlemen with us, we figured, what the heck? Let's talk about Star Wars. And, well, of course, we're going to talk about Star Wars. What else are we going to talk about? But let's talk specifically about the future of Star Wars. And that's, of course, we're talking the future of Star Wars cinema, which right now is... Well, it's a question mark. There have been more projects canceled in recent years than at any point in the history of Star Wars, obviously. There have been more, I dare say there's been more projects canceled than have actually come out under
Not
this
wrong.
tenure
Not wrong.
of Disney. So obviously there's a lot of things to talk about. So we're going to start with, how do you feel about, the safety and security of Star Wars cinema heading forward, since you guys are our guests? Ben, we'll start with you.
Yeah, so I mean, it's been a complicated few years. Obviously, there's been a lot of ups and probably more downs in the movie department. Just for the fact of we haven't got a movie since 2019. That's kind of crazy, being that we got so much for such a short period of time. We got almost as many movies that we got over the course of 30 years in about 5 years than we did in, that was just a crazy thing. And now we've had nothing. And my whole approach to this ultimately is just like, I have enjoyed much of what's come on TV, and much of it has been to the level of the theatrical content, in my humble opinion. So I'm not really like, oh, I really want to see a movie. Like, I'm okay not having a movie. I've been satisfied by the content we'll be getting on Disney Plus and elsewhere. But I do. It's getting to the point now. I'm like, I do want to get back to a theater. I would like to go out with my friends and watch a Star Wars movie in a theater. I just watched the Marvels today, and it's great to go out of theater. And every once in a while, I know it seems like a dying breed now, theaters and going to a building with a giant room with a giant screen and watching a movie when you could watch it at home. But there's just something about that experience that doesn't quite compare at home. So I'm looking forward to doing it with a Star Wars movie, hopefully in the near future. But I also yes, it's been concerning about how many things have been canceled, but I'm also I'm glad that they're taking their time. I'm glad they're not rushing things out, because as much as I don't like the fact that we've got so many Star Wars movies, I do like the fact that we haven't got any Star Wars movie that have sucked during this thing, because I haven't been in it. They're trying, at least.
Zach, what about you?
It's interesting. I grew up on Star Wars, and for the longest time, I was kind of a Star Wars apologist, and that was the only thing that I watched. And I was always talking about how it was superior to everything else out there, even when I hadn't seen everything else out there. And over the last, I want to say 5 or 6 years, my opinion has leveled out on the franchise as a whole. And maybe that has to do with the content, quantity and or quality, depending on how you look at it. And it's given me opportunity to spread my wings and venture out. And that's part of what the IPC podcast is all about, is being able to explore other universes and other fandoms and celebrate all of sci-fi. But there's something uniquely special about kind of returning home, as it were, where you get to dive into the world where you first fell in love with fandom, where you first fell in love with sci-fi. And I've gotten to experience that a few times with the stuff that Disney's Star Wars has put out. But it has been a mixed bag sometimes. And so I kind of appreciate the fact that they're being more deliberate and intentional with the stuff that's being put out now, and they're looking at it and saying, hey, this is good, let's put it out there. Or they're saying, hey, this isn't as good, let's put the pause button on this one and see where we can take it. And the fact that it's not just content always coming our direction, to me is kind of a good sign, because it means that they are trying to make sure that what they're giving us is worth our time and our energy and our financial investments, if there's action figures and stuff that's associated with it. I think I appreciate how intentional they're being with the products being put out as of late.
That's a fair. Randy, what about you?
Well, I mean, at first, once Disney acquired Star Wars, and started pumping stuff out. I was really super excited just because it's more Star Wars. That's something that ever since I was a kid, my first exposure to Star Wars was actually going to the theater to see Return of the Jedi dressed up as Yoda, because that's what my uncle had me do at the time. I was 5 years old. So it was one of those things where, as time went on and we got more Star Wars movies, the prequels, and then obviously what we got with Disney, it was just pure excitement. And obviously we did get a bit of oversaturation. I think that's one of the reasons why Solo failed as miserably as it did, is because of the fact that they just pumped it out right after, the divisive, Last Jedi. That did not help that movie any. They really should have waited and let things cool down, and that might have gotten better returns, but that's their business decision. They screwed that up. That's on them. But now with what they've been doing with Disney Plus and giving us series and making us wait and really taking their time, I'm fine with that. I think what they're building with the Disney Plus stuff is going to lead to, like with Filoni's movie, I can't wait to see what he pulls together with the Mandoverse. So I'm really excited for that. But as far as some of the movies that have been announced, some that have been canceled, it's definitely been hit or miss, but I'm really excited to kind of see where we go from here and exactly how much time Disney takes with this, because I think if you do it right, you'll hit another gold mine again, versus basically hoping, because of the name alone, rather than the power of the content, that you're going to hit $1 billion or better every time out. And clearly that's not going to be the case if you feel like you're just trying to saturate the market. And like Ben said, I'm excited about getting back in the theater with people. I remember when The Force Awakens came out, my friend bought out the entire theater, sold tickets to everybody, all his friends that love Star Wars. So like that energy of just people who were invested in Star Wars, there's no other feeling like that when you're in a theater and everybody loves Star Wars as much as you.
Yeah, we did something similar for The Force Awakens, and then some of my friends, we kind of rotated to which city we would go to. So one year it's LA, another year it's Dallas, another year it's somewhere else. For The Last Jedi, we rotated actually to Dallas, where I'm from. And I wasn't able to sell out the entire theater, but I think we probably bought out about half, Ben, maybe. And
the
we
first
had
section, yeah.
We had a very, very strong contingent that was there for The Last Jedi, and it was really fun to just kind of collaborate on our thoughts and take a giant group selfie and feed off of each other's energy throughout the movie. I do miss that. I do miss being able to celebrate Star Wars in a group setting. That is something that I haven't been able to do probably since 2019 when we saw the premiere out in LA. So I am a little bit starved for that, I will say.
Yeah, we had a similar experience up here. We had probably close to half the theater, if not more than that, for our showing. So, you're absolutely right about the camaraderie of Star Wars fans. Sean, what about you? You're the last one on this question.
I guess the question I would ask all of you is, how many times have you seen a cinematic franchise go from the big screen to the small screen and then successfully transition back to the big screen? And in my opinion, the answer is very, very few. And I'm concerned. I, like the rest of you, want to go see Star Wars in the cinema. I love going to the movie theater. There are things that I don't like people half my age that don't shut up during the movie in front of you or kick your seat all movie long or anything like that. But I love the idea of going to a movie theater to see Star Wars. Johnny, we seen The Force Awakens, and it was like minus 10 or 12 out as we came out. And 6 of us stood there in a little circle and talked for like 25 minutes.
Solid
about the
foot
movie.
of snow on the ground.
Yeah. For Rogue One, we literally drove in a severe snowstorm in Canada. We were sliding all over the road.
Yep.
I'm not saying I want to experience that again, but
that's just December in Canada, folks. You get what you pay for.
Yeah, Zach hit the nail on the head for me. I want to go see it with the people that I like and the people that I love, and be able to have that excitement. Like, I see Ben continuing to count down to another Star Wars movie, and like that's great. I seen it on one of your social media things, but it's also like, is it actually going to come out then? Because they've promised us so many different dates.
I'm not doing any countdowns right now because I too am like, okay, I'm going to have to see a trailer to believe it. Like I'm not believing any of the official, because we've got announcements at Celebration on stage of this is going to happen and stuff from Investor Day stuff, and it just didn't. So you really have to, like, you can't count your chickens before they hatch, as they say. And with Lucasfilm, it's just like, yeah, they have a history of just not delivering on their announcements. So let's wait and see.
Yeah,
The only trailer I've seen recently is Cousin Eddie's.
we had the 3 movies announced at Celebration, which was the I forget the director's name.
James Mangold.
No, it's the Rey New Jedi Order thing.
Omaid Choi, I forget her name. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
I should know this.
She's done a bunch of award-winning documentaries. She also, I think, directed a couple of episodes of Miss Marvel.
Yep. Charmin Obed Chinoy.
It's also being currently written by Stephen Knight, who did Peaky Blinders. So, like, there's definitely talent there. And I'm not opposed to seeing something 15 years later in the sequel trilogy, because it's far enough away from whatever happened in The Rise of Skywalker that there's, a lot of sort of possibilities as what could be going on. I just, instead of announcing 5 movies, because there's those 3, there's the Sean Levy one, there's the Taika Waititi one that Johnny, Randy, and I will discuss later. And it's like, just give me one even okay Star Wars movie in movie theaters, and I will be a happy, happy man. I miss the excitement. I miss watching, Ben post, we're 276 days away from the next Star Wars movie.
So do I.
276 days later, actually having a Star Wars movie to watch.
Like,
and then I get down to day 69, and people are like, nice.
That was my next joke. You beat me to it. I was like, my favorite day on the countdown is 69.
Don't.
And 69 and 420. Those are always the best.
I don't think I can handle you counting down from that far away.
Look, as soon as they give us a date, I'm counting. Okay, that's the rules.
that's fair.
Yeah, and like we just had the strike, right? So like even the dates that they last had, which I think seen 2 movies scheduled for 2026 and 1 for 27. I think those were the last dates that were put out.
Those are the currently released. May 26th, 2026, December 18th, 26, and December 17th, 27 are the current release dates. Just don't know what film fits in what date.
Like we just talked about this in relation to Halloween last night on Tonight in Haddonfield. It's like, don't forget that these extensions that were put in place are only 3 years long. They're not the usual 5-year extension or a 10-year extension. Studios are going to be desperate to get as much material out in that amount of time, because I hate to tell everybody this, we're probably heading for another strike, maybe even worse than this one, in 3 years. That's why it's a 3-year deal on both sides. So
I think that'll depend on how low the studio profits are from this fiscal year. If they're bad enough, they take it out. If the right people take a big enough dip in their paycheck this year, there probably won't be, at least not as long. But we won't know that until we know that.
Hopefully, the right people will learn the right lessons this go around.
Yeah.
Ben mentioned Star Wars TV being really good, and I think a lot of Star Wars TV has been really good. There's been some decisions that I don't necessarily agree with in terms of where money was spent, but even though Star Wars TV has been even great at times, and Johnny, Randy, and I were hyped about Ahsoka. Ian isn't here very much anymore, but he was hyped about Ahsoka, and we were talking about it. And but there's something about preparing to go see a movie, following that journey. It used to be 3 years. Now it's like probably 1.5 to 2 year turnaround on one. Just that journey, and you get into those like last couple of months, and you get the trailer at Celebration, and you get Forced Friday or whatever. It just, the TV stuff for me doesn't replicate that excitement. Maybe I'm a movie shill. I don't know.
It's bigger than the final project, right? Like the TV series, you get that day. This is the premiere, and this is the finale date. You don't get that singular experience that you get with cinema, where you can build an entire event around it, whether that's bringing together half the theater, or getting a bunch of friends together or people together at a cafe or a restaurant or something to have dinner together, to come together and play games, do some trivia, fun stuff, just make an experience of it that is so much bigger than the film itself. With TV, you can't really do that, because there's no centralization of the experience.
Or a Whataburger.
That falls under restaurant, Zach.
It's on my
People,
bucket list.
How dare you, sir, try to generalize the gloriousness that is Whataburger with such a blasé description as restaurant.
If it was that good, it would be in all 50 states and international
we
countries.
will tolerate no Whataburger slander in this house.
Well, you're in my house now.
But I think it just with Star Wars and with anything, like, people naturally treat things differently. Even this new era of prestige TV, where people know they can watch a show like House of the Dragon, Game of Thrones, Stranger Things, this new era show where they're just as good as movies. They're just the same quality as movies. People still put in those boxes of like, oh, it's a TV show. If it's in a movie theater, it's more highbrow. Just like with the whole thing with like, now we've got to make everything that was animated. Now it's going to be live action. We're going to do a live action version of everything that was animated. And everyone's bringing up the solid point of just like, animation is a valid medium. It's not better or worse than anything else. Sometimes stories such as like Spider-Verse are better in animation, but people still go back to, okay, well, live action is just in our brains, just better, just something that is a bit higher brow than that thing. And, just what our culture has accepted, unfortunately. But that's the way it is. And you have the thing with like, it's in the theater, you go out to the experience, as opposed to it's on an app and I can watch it whenever I want to. No, it's in the theater. No, it's just on an app and I'll just watch it whenever, and maybe I'll get to it. And it's, this Ashoka character. I don't know who she is. That's the whole thing.
I know we're running tight on time, but I also want to put out there that I do think that there's a level of, as much as we're diehard Star Wars fans and we want to see it be very inside baseball at times, like Ahsoka was, that's one thing I loved about it. Like, it wasn't surface level storytelling. It was deep.
No.
And for the casual fan, I understand why parts of Ahsoka didn't work. Totally get it.
Me too.
I followed it all. Like I loved it, but I also know that we're in the minority. As much as it doesn't seem like it, we are in the minority. And when you have a bunch of different Star Wars movies coming out, like, I know they say, well, this one's probably not going to be connected to that one. They're going to be standalones. I just don't think you can do that. I am not convinced that they're going to follow through with a bunch of different movies and a bunch of different eras that don't have some connection that ties them all together. I firmly believe there's going to be some storyline thread in place that you can even take the movie that's scheduled to be 25,000 years from now, or 25,000 years before New Hope, and have elements of that still affect the story in Rey or the story in the Filoni movie. I think if you do a bunch of standalones, you're going to lose your casual audience.
It needs some degree of familiarity. How you go about getting that, who knows? It could just be as simple as a location, familiar location or planet or something like that. And Star Wars does have quite a few of those. You can have that familiarity by spending some time on, let's say, Coruscant and seeing it through the ages as sort of the center of the galaxy. There's just so many options to make them connected without connecting them, I guess. It's just a question of, will they do it and how will they achieve it?
My one hope, my before we get to the trivia matchup, is if we're doing the Mangold movie, hopefully that gets made. But if we're doing the Mangold movie, I really, really want to see Tatooine, but as the ocean-covered planet that it was since it's 25,000 years ago.
Oh God, I am a Star Wars stan. I don't even know if my brain could compute that.
That's canon now, baby. No, that's canon. That's officially canon now. So I'm in the same boat. I want to see that.
Are you telling me that crate dragons are Loch Ness monsters that have learned to adapt to sand?
Oh boy.
If you can dream it, it's there.
Sarlacc pits in water? What? Oh God. I don't think I'm going to step in water anymore.
Even more terrifying somehow.
I might step in a sarlacc pit when I step in the ocean. No, thank you. All right. Well, I certainly have enjoyed this little roundabout panel on the future of Star Wars films and cinema, but that's really not why you're here. So let's get down to what we're all really here for. I can't believe I'm teeing this up, but ladies and gentlemen, it is time for trivia.
Johnny has waited 8 long, painful years to queue up trivia.
I have
That
not.
music play.
No, I have. I feel dirty. I need a shower after that.
Oh, look, Zach's got the moves going on too.
All right.
Zach knows it.
So it is time for Star Wars trivia. And of course, today's combatants directly underneath me, Zach Arnold squaring off the man to my left and down. Benjamin, I guess right and down if you're looking at the screen. Ben Hart. Now, if you guys watched episode 1, you know how the trivia function works. If you haven't, I'm going to turn it over to Sean to give you a rundown on how this is going to play out.
Ooh, rundown. Like that episode of The Office.
No, we know what the rundown is here, Zach.
So it's funny because I remember specifically us surprising Ben with Zach as his trivia competition the last time these two went one-on-one in a trivia match with us. So that was a lot of fun, and here we are today, years later, and they're going to go one-on-one again. And this time we have a visual component. The way this is going to work is Johnny is going to read Ben's questions to him, and Randy will read Zach's questions to him. I will give out the answers as the questions that I submitted to those guys do not contain answers. But let's go over the rules once more just to catch everybody up. I did let both players see a rule sheet earlier to try to get them ready for this.
Same page.
Yeah, so every round is a wheel round, which is different than how we used to do things. Each question, you will have 20 seconds to answer the question. You can ask to have the question repeated, but you can't be asking it every single question. If we think one of you guys are abusing the repeat the question thing, we'll just say no, we're not repeating the question. Round 1, we'll start with round 1. We'll explain the rules for each round as we get there. Round 1, everybody gets the same questions. Each question is worth 1 point. Competitors can mutually agree to veto the category, the first category the wheel spins on. If they agree to veto it, then whatever the next category is, they have to take it. Player's choice is not on the table for round 1, as it's a mutual spin of sorts. So without further ado, let's spin the wheel, get it up here, and see what category you guys land on. I don't know how well you can read the font. Games, do you guys want to veto or do you want to take it?
Are we talking video games or board games?
Video games.
Games.
Video. It's all video games.
Well, I mean,
It could include board. It's just
there's
Star Wars.
tabletop and card games. I'm just clarifying.
Johnny needs that in his trivia round. He needs some tabletop trivia. He'd be okay with that.
Probably my weakest category, but
Same. So I'm down to veto it if you are.
yeah, let's do that.
Alrighty, let's shuffle it a couple of times so we get a different result. And there we go. Games again.
Oh, damn it. Please don't. God, no.
How about mixed bag?
Oh. I swear.
All right.
for round one, guys, since it's to both of them. Actually, Johnny, you can. Sorry, it'll give me time to update the
Yeah, let
Score
me just
sheet.
scroll through my sheets and get to that
Yep.
particular. Okay. Are you going back to full screen before we start here?
Yes, sir.
Oh, we're writing these ones down, correct?
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Correct.
all of them. Yep.
Okay.
Or any question where you both can answer.
That's what I thought. I just wanted
The
to get...
individual categories, because there's no steal, we allowed verbal answers. I assume we'll continue to do that.
Right.
But because you're both answering the same question, that wouldn't be fair for whoever guesses second. All right. Am I giving multiple choice or just the answer here? Just the answer here, right? Or just the question?
Yeah, correct. There is no.
Yeah, just the answer.
There's no-
Just the answer, John.
Yeah, I'm just giving you the answers. I was just making sure, because obviously with the questions I have multiple choice. I didn't think there was a multiple choice in round one.
No, there's not.
I was just confirming that. And you have the answers, not me. I just
Correct.
have the questions.
Yep.
So, question number 1. What Star Wars movie had a production budget of $50 million?
Bet they're wishing they picked games now.
Damn straight.
By the way, there's a good bet that sometime down the road, Randy will face the winner of this trivia match at some point in time. Don't know when that'll be, but sometime down the road. And Johnny likely the loser. All right. Pens down. Answers up. Might need to hold it close to the cam. Your windows are very small.
But his writing is good.
Empire and A New Hope.
Wow. Well, I can say without a doubt you're both wrong, because neither of those is one of my multiple choice questions.
Wow.
Yeah, see, that's the thing when we do trivia now. Every single question we prepare has to have a multiple choice option because we don't know when the question is going to come up. The answer was The Phantom Menace. The Phantom Menace.
Wow.
They made that whole movie on $50 million.
$50 million.
That's impressive.
That's
Hollywood
really
actually knew how to
impressive.
spend money back then.
Considering the CGI that they used on the Gungans and the droids and the choreography, like, damn.
If you watch the making of The Phantom Menace, there's this part where George Lucas is like pointing at John Knoll with a marker, being like, doesn't matter, regardless of what happens, we only have $50 million to make this movie. And John Knoll's like, yeah, I'm not very sympathetic to what you're saying.
Back when the average budget was like 20, 50 is a lot.
That's wild.
Yep. All right, question number 2. Which Star Wars film was co-edited by George Lucas's ex-wife, Marcia?
And for further clarity, she wasn't his ex-wife at that time.
Important detail.
Five seconds. 4, 3, 2, 1. Markers down. Boards up. A New Hope and Return of the Jedi. The correct answer is A New Hope. Ben out to the 1-0 lead.
All right.
Dry erase is not erasing.
Oh, I know what that's like.
All right. Question number 3. Which Star Wars features the homeworld of the Selkath species Manon?
Sorry, repeat that question. I don't know if I heard that right.
Which Star Wars game features
Game.
the home world planet of the Selkath, Manon?
Ten seconds. Here's a throwback. 5, Porg, 3, 2, 1. Time's up. Board's up. We got Knights of the Old Republic and Knights of the Old Republic 2. The correct answer is Knights of the Old Republic.
Whoa. That was just a shot in the dark for me.
And Zach hates the game even more now.
I already hate it. You can't hate something more.
I mean, you can.
He
I don't know.
loathes
I
it.
don't know.
Not at my level.
It's fair, I guess. All right. Question number 4. Who wrote the novel adaptation of Revenge of the Sith?
Embarrassed to admit I had to fact check this one earlier. Good thing I did because my initial thought I was wrong.
That would have been an oopsie.
Yeah. 5, 4, 3, 2.
Not confident with this one.
Markers down, boards up. We got Matthew Stover and Sir Gregory. Ooh. Zach Chandler with Peter Mondo.
Correct.
Ben was correct.
What? You serious?
Yeah, the correct answer was in fact Matthew
Oh,
Stover.
there's no way.
Camera pans out to see Ben's Star Wars library to his right.
I own that. I own that in digital form, in audible video form. No physical copies for me.
I own no form of it, as you can clearly tell.
It's a good book, though. I highly recommend it.
And
It
if I
is.
did, I would wipe my ass with it.
Somebody's salty.
I mean, that's how I'd feel about the first two, but not that one.
We do have the pick your poison round next, so I would hate to be Ben on the other side of this.
Huh. Okay.
I've already given away something that I'm bad at, so
Ha. Okay. Question number 5 and final question of the round. How many episodes are there of Star Wars: The Clone Wars?
The Clone Wars.
The Clone Wars.
In case there's any further clarification needed on this, if there's any confusion, the Dave Filoni show.
Well, the other one was just Clone Wars, right? That's why I emphasized.
I believe so. I know there's people that go back.
the Clone Wars.
All right, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Boards up. You got 122 from Ben, 184 from Zach.
Well, gentlemen, you're both wrong.
The correct answer was 133. 133.
Why did I think? Maybe I got my 127 mixed up with 172.
Somehow 122 stuck in my head, but completely wrong.
So we have a score of 3-0 for Ben through round 1. Randy, we haven't heard from you too much so far. How many of those would you gotten right, you figure?
Looking at this list of questions, I can pretty much say maybe 2 of them.
Yeah, it was
The other 3 I'd have gotten wrong.
category. Tough
I
category.
felt good with 3.
All right, so we move on to round number 2, which is we should have really just named this round the round of spite.
I think pick your poison sounds it conveys that.
So round 2, the pick your poison round. You pick the other player's category of questions with a spin of the wheel.
I guess it should be pick their poison.
Yes. The other person can veto the spin one time if they choose to do so. 4 questions each in this round. Each question is worth 2 points. 1 if you use multiple choice. You can only use multiple choice 3 times in this round, even though there's 4 questions. Your multiple choice answer will only be worth 1 point, not 2. Any questions about the rules before we proceed, guys?
No, I think I'm good.
Ben is in the lead, so we're going to let you decide who goes first in terms of answering the questions, Ben. You or Zach?
I'll let Zach go first.
All right, so let's spin this wheel again and see if Zach vetoes category number 1. You need some wheel trivia spinning music. literature.
I mean, compared to other categories, this one's it's not my strongest area, but I think I'm willing to give it a shot compared to some of the other categories that are out there. If I land on something like mixed bag again or games, then I'm in big trouble. So I'll stick with it. See what happens.
All right. And Randy, you are asking Zach his questions from the literature category. Take it away, man.
Just for us, I assume since we're only doing 4, it's 1 through 4.
Yes. Leave the other question. Whatever one's listed as 5.
All right.
We might need it later.
So, question 1. What is the current canon novel where the galaxy discovers Luke and Leia and Luke's father was Darth Vader?
Current canon novel where they discover.
10 seconds, and you do have multiple choice.
Yeah, I'll need to take multiple choice on this one, please.
All right. So for multiple choice, there's A, Star Wars Aftermath, B, Star Wars Bloodline, or C, Star Wars The Legend of Vader.
I'll go with Aftermath.
That is incorrect. We were looking for Star Wars Bloodline. Next question, Randy.
All right. Number 2. What Legends novel serves as a continuation of the KOTOR game series?
You fucking shitting me.
Zach just goes. Show
Really? Really?
Randy, proceed. I think John's dying. We'll check on him in a bit.
All right. So I'm assuming you're taking multiple choice on this.
I'm
then?
going to have to, yeah. And
So-
then it's still going to be a 1 in 3 chance.
All right. So you have A, The Old Republic Deceived, B, The Old Republic Choices of One, or C, The Old Republic Revan.
Revan? I don't know.
That's correct. Zach is on the board.
With a KOTOR question.
Yeah.
Fuck me in the ass.
Oh,
Oh,
hey.
oh god.
All right, on to 3. What Star Wars Legends novel features the death of Mara Jade?
Oh, hold on. I think I know this one.
Beats me.
10
You know
seconds.
what? I'll take the multiple choice. I feel like I know the name, and when I hear it, I'm gonna kick myself. But I'll take the multiple choice just to try to give me a point.
Alrighty then. A, Star Wars Abyss, B, Star Wars Revelation, or C, Star Wars Sacrifice.
Sacrifice.
That's correct.
Yep. I knew I was gonna know it when I heard it. Legacy of the Force is one of my favorite franchises. I should have known that one.
Big shout out to Legacy. Love Legacy.
Mm-hmm.
Alrighty then. And
Final
question 4. How many canon Thrawn novels are there?
3.
That is incorrect. We were looking for 6. There are 6 Thrawn novels in canon. There is the I don't even know what you would call them now, but there's the main trilogy which ties in with Rebels and stuff, and then there was a prequel trilogy that Timothy Zahn did the following year.
I know I checked out after the third one.
So yeah, the score is 3-2, halfway through round 1, which brings Johnny back into the fold, reading Ben his questions. We got some echoing on Johnny's end. Some really bad feedback. Oh, it's Ben.
I
There's
was
two
gonna say, I'm
Bens.
hearing it, so I don't think it's me.
There's 2 Bens. There we go.
Apologies.
You want on the one you just added or the other one?
The one I just added.
Okay, there we go. All right, we're good. Sorry, John, you were the first person to talk, and it came through you. Here we go. Wheel round. Again, Zach, you get to pick his poison here. So we'll spin the wheel. Ben, you can veto once.
Wait, what power do I have exactly?
You can veto. No?
No,
No,
yes.
he can veto.
None.
Zach was. Oh God. Movies and shows.
Please
I'll take
ask
it.
him like
I'll take it.
Adventures in Endor bullshit or something.
This
Oh,
was an
God.
unfortunate break for Zach.
The
Go.
Ewok forest adventures where they play drop the sack. Please give him questions like that.
Okay. Ben,
I'm here.
I believe it's multiple choice on 3, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, I'm just confirming that. All right, your first question. In The Force Awakens, who played Lor San Tekka?
That would be the good Sir Max von Sydow.
That is correct for 2 points. Ben with a 5-2 lead now.
I am so sorry, Zach. The wheel is not kind. I assume this is by runtime?
Yes.
What is the longest Star Wars film?
That would be Star Wars Episode 8, The Last Jedi.
That is correct for 2 more points. It's not over yet.
Which
Texas would win a World Series.
Fuck you, it is.
Damn.
Oh God.
This seems relevant for right now.
I don't give a shit.
For the record, I have to do a podcast with this man after this, okay? I have to deal with this for the rest of the night, okay? This is
Good
going
luck
to
with
be
that.
great.
All right. Which Star Wars film features the line, "That will be enough out of you. Now get aboard the ship"?
Phantom Menace, right?
That is correct for 2 more points. He's doing it without multiple choice.
Who said it?
Qui-Gon,
Qui-Gon.
right?
I thought so.
It's not gonna. That'll be
I
enough.
thought
Get
so.
on
I
board.
said I didn't want to do like a Qui-Gon-y accent, which would have given it away. So it's like, how can I do this in a voice that won't give it away?
He was channeling his inner Obi-Wan.
I was trying to go for random Imperial, so I guess I failed that big time. Okay. Which Skywalker saga film ends in space?
Okay. Damn.
10 seconds.
Oh, Empire Strikes Back.
That is correct for 2 more points.
Oh, I'm so sorry, Zach.
Ben sweeps to pick your poison round.
Damn.
Ben, watch your back on IPC, man.
I'm telling you, this is not. I'm glad we're in separate states tonight. I really am.
But Zach has a chance to catch up because now it's time for our, what did we call this round again? The Pazak round. Round 3 is the Pazak round. You can bet up to 3 points, or you can bet as little as 0. You have to bet the points prior to the wheel spin. A spin of the wheel will determine the category of the question, which category the question is in. The current leader can choose to veto the category 1 time. So take your markers, write how many points you are wagering between 0 and 3 on your whiteboard, and leave it face down until after the question is asked.
I guess since it's relevant this week, is this Jeopardy? Can you go negative?
No, you cannot go negative. But you also need 3 points to bet 3 points.
That would be why I asked, because when Randy and I competed a few weeks ago, we both had more than 3 points.
Salt in the fucking
I just had to confirm. I mean, I didn't want you putting down 3.
No, you didn't.
I kind of. I'm a host this week, Zach. I had to.
It doesn't fucking matter. He could bet 3. I could bet 2. I could get it right. He could get it wrong. I could sweep the next round and still fucking lose.
But you could still win too. That's not out of the possibility yet. All right, but we're gonna play it through to the end. That's what we did with Johnny and Randy too. Let's do this spin to determine which category this is gonna take place in. Here we go. Ben can veto one time. We don't have a rule for this, but I think player's choice should probably be out for this round since it's a mutual spin between the two. So we'll spin again. Oh, God. Behind the scenes, you can veto if you'd like, Ben.
No, I'm good. I'm good. I'm feeling good. I'm feeling good.
He thought about that one. That was a calculative move.
Would have preferred animation, but I know I'll get like EU or something or gaming, and then they'll screw me.
All right. So your question is, well, actually, let's see how many points you each bet before we ask the question.
How many? What's the? How does it top out? I forgot to.
3.
0 to 3.
0 to 3.
Okay. Ready.
All righty. Here we go. Who came up with the concept for the Rogue One movie? Who came up with the concept for the Rogue One movie? Who pitched it to Kathleen Kennedy?
I can just say the answer, right?
You got to write it down.
Oh. You can tell how much I just pay attention to all the rules that you're giving him.
I don't think I actually said that part, so that one's on me. But if you say your answer, then Zach could be like, yeah, I was that person.
That's what I was going to say.
5 seconds. 4, 3, 2, 1. Time's up. Answers up. What do we got here? We got John Knoll, and I didn't actually see how many points you bet, Ben. And,
it was 3.
It was 3.
And Zach didn't have anything?
Nope.
All right, so Ben is going to end up winning this match, but we still have a true and false round to go to see what the scores end up as. That is a, what is that, 14 to 2?
14 to 1.
Oh, Zach bet 1? Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Oh, because that was the only thing on his board. I get it. Okay. I won't lie. I thought there was a chance Zach was going to win this. I legitimately was in his corner.
The wheel was not kind.
No.
As mad as I got at the wheel, Zach should be angrier at the wheel.
But the final round is actually not a wheel round. So this is how it goes. We are going to read off 7 questions. You just need to put a T or an F beside the question. So maybe on your whiteboards, write down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 on the left-hand side. And then you can put a T or an F beside each one as we sort of cruise through this round. All right, here we go. Knights of the Old Republic 2 was released in 2005. True or false? Question 2. Harrison Ford's original Star Wars contract was only for 2 films. True or false? There was supposed to be a Jaina Solo 5-part book series called Sword of the Jedi. True or false? There are 7 lightsaber duels in Revenge of the Sith. That's question number 4, by the way. True or false? Question number 5. Anakin Skywalker appears in 4 episodes of the Ahsoka Disney Plus series. True or false? Irvin Kershner directed Return of the Jedi. True or false? And the final question, Luke Skywalker has appeared in every Star Wars Disney Plus series except for Ahsoka, live action that is, except for Ahsoka and Andor. True or false? And time's up. We'll hold up Zach's board first. See what he got. I'm going to have to look at this closely. So we had 1 was correct. 2 was correct. 3 was correct. 4 was wrong. 5 was correct. 6 was correct. And 7 was correct. So Zach scored a 6 out of possible 7 points in that final round. So he recovers the score quite nicely. Let's see what Ben ends with here.
Not as good.
Oh, that's right. Okay, so 1 is incorrect. 2 is correct. 3 is incorrect. 4 is incorrect. 5 is correct. 6 is correct. 7 is correct. So Ben got 4 out of a possible 7 points, meaning your final score of the IPC trivia showdown, if you will, a nod back to Wastelands, is Ben with 18 and Zach with 7. Congrats, Ben.
Thank you very much.
That was more one-sided than I thought it was going to be. I don't know why.
Gee, you don't have to rub it in.
No, I honestly thought it was going to be a lot closer. I thought that Johnny and Randy's match was a little one-sided, but Zach definitely did not have any wheel luck on his side.
Got shafted. What
tonight.
happened?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, before we bid bon voyage to you fellas, we'll start off with Zach. What do you want to tell us about, man? What do you got going on? I know there's a lot happening.
Well, we just finished the playoffs for the football season, so I'm actually coasting into an off season as we head towards the holidays. But I'll be back in the spring doing local baseball stuff for possibly 2 high school teams instead of just 1. So Zach Arnold Productions is looking to expand into the city a little bit more, which is pretty cool. But there's a lot of logistics to work out in the meantime. So y'all can just follow me at username Zach the Voice, ZACH the Voice, to see any kind of announcements or pop-ups or anything. But for the most part, it'll be IPC or something here like Legacy of Westeros, or maybe another trivia match down the road. I kind of need to redeem myself, maybe get a little friendlier spin from the wheel. So y'all just hit that subscribe button, and if there's anything worthwhile to tell y'all about in the coming months, you'll probably hear about it on this channel before you hear it anywhere else.
Thanks, dude. Ben, how about you, man? You got a lot of different things happening in a lot of different places. Fill us in on it.
Yeah. Well, first of all, thank you so much for having me back. It was an absolute pleasure. I would prefer it if you invited me back when you didn't pit me against my friends, and we could just have a nice thing. But
Ben, you're too friendly. We'd never have you on for trivia if you couldn't compete against your friends.
I know. I just don't. The house divided against itself cannot stand, and you're threatening the very fabric of IPC by continuing to do this. But it's all good. It's all good. Maybe next time we'll have to team up. Maybe. So that will be fun. I'm looking forward to any and all trivia. Trivia is always fun. Not just because for some reason my brain clicks. Yeah, for me, you can follow me personally at Ben Hart with no E. I am on the Instagram, Facebook, and Threads. I'm technically on Twitter, but I really don't like to advertise and I don't like to tweet anymore. So, but you can follow me at the Star Wars Underworld. It's the Star Wars Underworld Network now. We have a lot of different podcasts, all kinds of stuff happening. We're on all the social medias. We're on Discord. We have tons of stuff happening. We were on break there for a while for the strike, but now we're back. We're gonna be doing weekly episodes back, same time, same place on YouTube.
On a break.
And then obviously IPC is back. In 10 minutes, we'll be back doing a new show. So definitely go check that out. We're just audio only right now, but that's enough for us. And it's been a lot of fun doing that once per month. We wish we could do it more, but hey, we're still going strong. We're approaching 10 years doing that show. Just crazy. And not have anything going to stand in our way. But and then also you mentioned Culture Slate. Pretty much all your latest breaking pop culture news and stuff. We've got tons and tons and tons of stuff going on over there at Culture Slate on social media, and I think that's it. I think I honestly forget something usually most of the time.
Well, we appreciate having you guys on. There's nothing official yet in place, but the plan for that tag team trivia match Ben hinted at would be to have Ben and Zach team up to go against Johnny and myself in a reunion match of sorts, with Randy being the quizmaster.
Better be ready to carry.
Hopefully, we would have a special guest commentator on as well. So that could be a while out still, but that's the plan. Johnny, if we lose your fault.
No, my prediction on my Facebook page was pretty accurate. Did get my ass handed to me. But I am looking forward to whatever comes up next. If I can get the same type of softball questions that Ben got in that one round instead of fucking KOTOR book questions, then maybe I would stand a better chance. But appreciate y'all having us on. It's always a fun time, and I look forward to next time.
Apologies with the scheduling, trying to get it all to work and run on time, but we really enjoyed it. Don't forget, are you guys live tonight, by the way, with IPC?
Yes, we are.
Yes, I'm setting it up right now. It's zachthevoice.mixlr.com.
Check it out. I will probably put it on once we're done here. So again, thanks to Ben and Zach, and can't wait to see you both again. And happy early Thanksgiving to you both.
Thank you.
Thank you, man. Happy late Thanksgiving to you Canadians.
Thank you. There you have it. Zach and Ben, IPC. Great having those guys back again. Like I said, I really thought the trivia match was going to be a little closer. Obviously, when one person ends up with literature and another ends up with movies and TV, it's just not a fair scale. But that's the wheel of death, if you will. Johnny,
wheel of death to land on games for Ben to have a chance of not being.
Yeah, that was rough.
That's the luck I'm gonna need if against Ben. Apparently, if whenever I have my little match up there, I'm gonna need games to bail me out.
Yeah, Ben was always very good at the trivia, but again, if you missed it, Ben prevails 18-7 over Zach in Star Wars trivia, and 6 of Zach's 7 points came in that final true or false round. So again, he kind of got screwed by the wheel. Johnny, what do we got next? I know we don't have too much time left because we've run a little late here. But
we did. So I don't want to say we're going to go super zoomy fast through the next couple categories, but they're probably not going to be as long as they usually are, just because of time constraints. So it is now time for the HoloNet, where we talk about news, rumors, and things of that nature as relating to the current state of Star Wars. That was an odd emphasis on Star Wars there. I digress. All right. The first topic of the day is Star Wars Outlaws was announced at the Game Awards as a nominee. It was announced for the upcoming Game Awards as a nominee for most anticipated game of 2024. The Game Awards are December 7th, I believe. I want to say it's the first Saturday in December. Whatever that is.
The VGAs, yeah. I mean, I know they just did the Golden Joystick Awards, but the VGAs are usually early December.
It's early December. We'll get an accurate date on that shortly, but the VGAs in December. Outlaws is nominated for most anticipated game of 2024. Is there any surprise there? Are either of you shocked by this?
No, not at all.
I guess the only thing I'm shocked about is I'm not convinced this game's coming out in 2024. In fact, if I had to bet money on it, I would say it's almost at the guarantee to be in 2025 at this point, considering what came out from the developer in the last couple of weeks. Most people assume it's this game that's going to be delayed. And as Randy and I have spoken about before, the game looks like it has incredible potential. I love the open world feel to it. I love how it feels like you can immerse yourself in the Star Wars galaxy, if you will. But just take your time and get it right. Randy's going through it right now with Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3 or whatever. There's so many new games. Like, I get it. You're going to have troubles at launch, but some of the troubles that are happening now are just way worse than it ever used to be. Like, it's almost not comparable. And I would like there's going to be issues, but I would like there to be a little smoother launch than some other games that have come out, Star Wars or not Star Wars.
Well, and think about it. Sledgehammer came out and said that their time they took to do Modern Warfare 3 was 16 months. For any game nowadays, especially if you want high quality. I mean, look at how long it took between like God of War and Ragnarok. Between those, they took their time and they crafted a really good story, great voice acting. The controls were crisp. It's night and day when you see a studio who cares and takes their time and really just puts their heart into it and makes sure all the bugs are gone. Versus, hey, we're on a yearly release cycle. Let's just pump something out so that we can get money out of it. Then that's kind of what like Call of Duty, Madden, and some other titles are like right now.
Yearly releases were great in the era of alternating studios, and publishers got greedy, started cutting out studios, and you're left with one pumping out a game every year, and you end up with crap. Obviously, Outlaws is facing some tough competition in this category. It is nominated against Tekken 8, Like a Dragon, Infinite Wealth, Hades 2, and the game I believe is going to run away with this category, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth.
Yeah, I'm pretty excited for that too.
So it's going to be an uphill battle. I'm legitimately shocked that it was nominated, if I'm being honest. But I think that's mostly because you're limited to games that are currently on the release window for 2024. I have a feeling that should the trailer that is set to debut at the VGAs say what I think it's going to say, it would have been the head and shoulders runaway for most anticipated game of 2024, because my gut is telling me that the end of the GTA 6 trailer we're going to get at the VGAs, that it's going to say coming holidays 2024.
I mean, even if it's not 2024 and it's 2025, people are going to be.
Oh, it'll be next year if it's 2025.
Yeah,
but
it'll be. I mean, it's Grand Theft Auto, right? So
yeah,
I get it. What else we got, man?
All right, well, we got one other category in the HoloNets, and that is a statement from Taika Waititi about the future of his production schedule, his personal production schedule, where I believe he said he has to write 4 films before he gets to his Star Wars film. Guys, are you as concerned by this news as I am?
Yeah, this. You know what, Randy? You go first. I'm already disgusted.
Yeah, it's a bit frustrating, concerning, just because to me that just shows that he cares about these other projects more so than probably the boatload of cash that Disney decided to give him for his to do a Star Wars film. And it's I don't know. And I was really kind of looking forward to seeing what type of spin he could bring, to put on the Star Wars universe. And now with just him making these comments, I'm just like, well, so what are the chances now we're not going to see it at all? Because Disney's only going to show so much patience before they were like, you know what? You're not giving us anything. You're not showing us what your story is leading to. We have other people pitching us ideas. We're going to go with them. Sorry for your loss.
Uh,
Well,
random.
um,
That was
not-
random.
Johnny just got Thanos snapped. All right. I don't know what happened to him. Okay.
Neither do I.
Yeah, man, oh, he's back. He survived the Thanos snap.
yes, my StreamYards went and pooped on me. I guess that happens. The more and more transitions we have with an episode, the more and more it gets the memory out of control, and eventually it just says, "Nope, that's enough." All right, where did I die? What happened?
You really are just about to start, and then you were gone.
I think this is more a testament of the extreme rush for announcing projects that we've had. I can't imagine that, it wasn't abundantly clear to Kathleen and everyone at Disney what other projects he had in the pipeline, because my assumption is at least one of those is under the Disney umbrella. So it is safe to assume that they know what he's working on. They knew that, okay, this is my fifth, this is the fifth in my queue, because he is a very prominent director who is very busy, not just with directing, but also acting. He is starring in Our Flag Means Death on TV. He's also doing other, films and movies and things of that nature that he's writing and directing, and so he is a very busy man, and I think this is sort of a testament to that there's so much going on that they knew, that they rushed to announce a project that they knew was still 5 or 6 years away from being ready, just to be able to say we have a Taika film coming. And that is not good, because it gets us hyped, it gets us excited. We all grew up in an era where most films were announced with a date, or with a semblance of production being further down the pipeline. Things weren't announced until you had a script in hand. Things weren't announced until you had the film cast. Things didn't get announced until you were ready to be able to say, this is what's coming, this is when it's going to come out, and this is who's doing it and who's doing what. And we've gotten further and further away from that, where now studios are just announcing slates 7-8 years in advance, and then struggling to meet those windows because they're nowhere in the production. Marvel is a prime example of that. Fantastic Four was announced, what, 4 years ago, 5 years ago at this point, and we have nothing to go on. I'm sure that the strikes that we've suffered this year has, played a big part in pushing that back, but it just, I don't mind not knowing the production schedule 4 years from now, as long as you tell me when things are coming that are actually coming. Like I said earlier, I feel like we've had as many projects canceled as we've had announced in this era of Star Wars, and it's just it's trying on my patience, and my patience is wearing thin. You get me excited for these promises and principles of production, and then we wait a year, we wait 2 years, we wait 3 years, and all of a sudden, yeah, that's not actually happening now.
Yeah, I think it doesn't
a prime
help.
example of that.
I don't think it helps that, like, from what we know, they're not going to shoot 2 movies at the same time, because they're still going to be shooting TV shows. And so now you have the 3 movies that were announced at Celebration, which, by the way, the Taika Waititi movie was announced over an entire year earlier than those 3 movies. And all 3 of those movies are set to come out before the Taika Waititi movie. Now he's also trying to finish 4 scripts for 4 different movies. And most good writers, they're not popping a script out in a month. That's a year-long process. So we're talking a movie that's 7, 8, 9, 10 years from now. And I don't think I'm exaggerating. I'm thinking that's best case scenario. In my opinion, this movie is never going to happen. This is what happens with Lucasfilm projects. They announce too many, and then, kind of like Johnny said, they don't follow through. I know there's other studios that have those issues too, but they've been so front and center with Lucasfilm. Richard, that is not very nice. That is not very nice at all. But yeah, I have no faith in that movie coming out. I'm not sure I have faith in the Mangold movie coming out. Not sure if you guys are aware, but Indiana Jones wasn't received very well. So, I'm a huge Star Wars fan, but that doesn't mean that we need to announce a movie 7, 8, 9, 10 years before the fucking thing comes out. Get your team in place and announce a trilogy or something. And I still stand by what I said earlier in the show. I think a bunch of movies that don't connect is never going to work well with the casual movie audience. So like the whole $1 billion idea, forget that unless they find a way to start tying things together. And I don't mean MCU style tie things together either, because I think they've also run their course and the quality of the stuff that they're putting out is going downhill too.
Yeah, but we're getting that with the Mandoverse when you think about it, with Book of Boba Fett and Ahsoka and Mandalorian. We're getting a MCU type style. Everything's got to mesh together, even though we do have that one continuity issue with Ahsoka and Luke meeting, and that's really the only thing they've screwed up so far.
I still maintain I don't think they screwed that up. We just haven't seen it yet. But it's like we said, it's one of those things where the more and more you announce things that get us hyped, and then you don't deliver them. I mean, another prime example, like, yes, we've talked about the Feige film being canceled, the Mangold film announced,
the one that Kathleen Kennedy denies ever being a thing.
Yep.
Even though Alan Horn said this is why, at least for diehards, it's so divisive, is because the company itself has been caught in so many fucking lies, or so much gets announced and then canceled, that how can you not have divisiveness?
Yeah, they can't keep, the left hand doesn't know what the right hand is doing sometimes, and that is extremely detrimental. But that brings me back to another prime example of production hell. We haven't even talked about the Rian Johnson trilogy that was announced back in 2018.
No, that shit is never happening.
But I'm saying that was announced in 2018,
2017, before the release of The Last Jedi.
So we've been waiting on anything for this film for 5-6 years now, and it's just in production hell. It's not canceled; it's still coming. But clearly, Ryan is off, doing his own thing.
See, I disagree with that.
Well,
I think it is canceled. I think it's the one thing that they don't want to outright.
Well, I'm saying that they haven't said that. It could very well be a back pocket cancel that they're just going to let disappear.
Because it's the still years later, the hot button topic among the fandom that people point to is, this is what created the big divide in the fan base. But they don't want to attract attention to it, or else it looks like the other side won, if you will. I think the Last Jedi is an incredibly well-made film with production quality that might be better than any Star Wars movie outside of Rogue One. I just don't agree with a lot of the creative choices that are made in that movie. And at this point, if you're still waiting on the Rian Johnson thing to happen, I don't know what to tell you, because I'm telling you, you're going to see Santa Claus before you see that movie.
Well, Santa Claus comes out on Disney Plus starting this week, season 2. So
I still need to finish season 1. I stopped.
I haven't even started. I
like season 1. I thought it was okay.
I watched all 3 movies, and I was like, okay, I think I'm at my limit now. I'm done. And then they announced the series, and I'm like, what are you? Stop this. Just enough is enough. But I digress. We'll save that for the Patreon show. But just, seeing Ryan go out there and do other things has shown me that he isn't the problem. Knives Out, that series has been great. He isn't the problem. The, overarching direction was the problem. The lack of a plan was the problem. The lack of, the lack of a Kevin Feige or a Dave Filoni or anyone in that position to be like, okay, here's the direction, here's where the story's going, here's, we need A to contain this, B to contain this, and then C will wrap it up with this. They didn't have any of that. And it showed. It completely showed when, again, the left hand didn't know what the right hand was doing, and one film didn't make sense when watching it after the film that came before it. It just got confusing and convoluted, and then you get to the third film where they're just throw their hands up in the air and say, fuck it, and Palpatine returned.
Somehow Palpatine returned.
That's literally it. It's
an actual line in the movie. Come on.
Isn't that literally the first line of the crawl?
I don't know, but I know Poe Dameron says it.
He does, but I'm
pretty sure he
fairly
said it.
certain it was the first line of the crawl as well, but I could be wrong. But it's so ridiculous that you have to dig for something like that to sort of be, you're like, well, this will save it. Well, no, it won't.
Randy, how do you feel about the Rise of Skywalker in 30 seconds or less?
It was, at the time, I was excited to see it. Like in hindsight, after really kind of digesting it, it's and I'm gonna say it's like with The Last Jedi, it's a good movie. It's just not a good Star Wars movie because it doesn't have the feeling of Star Wars.
I'd say it's a good movie, but not a good Skywalker. Like, it's a good Star Wars film, but it's not a good Skywalker saga Star Wars film.
Okay, I can see with that.
It's a fucking abyss that never should have been made. That's how I feel about that movie. Like,
as part of that trilogy, you're right.
And like I was like, so I'm someone that paid attention to leaks and stuff, and like the way the leaks read, not that they were wrong, they were pretty damn accurate. But they definitely sounded better than what we got on screen. But I was also I don't know about bitter, but I was still pretty upset about The Last Jedi. That when The Rise of Skywalker was coming out, it's like, just do something that's not The Last Jedi, please. And looking back at the movies as a whole, like the trilogy as a whole, the Last Jedi is just a way better made film in every facet than The Rise of Skywalker.
It really is. The story, as bad as the story was, it still made more sense than what came after it. Like we can quibble and argue about all we want about it, but the finished product was good. It just didn't fit in with the story they were trying to tell, and that's not the fault of Ryan singularly. It's the fault of, at the end of the day, it's the fault of Kathleen Kennedy not having either herself or someone else in a position to be like, this is the trilogy, this is where we're going, this is the overarching story that we need to play out across 3 films. You're writing the first part, you're writing the second part, you're writing the third part. Get in a room and figure out which plot elements you want to take, who gets what, and figure it out, and then write your individual films that fit in with these discussions. But they didn't do that. They picked independent writers to go out there. Okay, you're doing the first part, you're doing the second part, you're doing the third part, and then we get to the third part and say, ooh, yeah, no, that doesn't work. The guy who did the first part is now going to do the third part, and it's not going to make any sense when you watch it after the first part, let alone after the second part. So nothing's going to make sense, and we're all just going to throw our hands up in the air and count our dollar bills. That's the sequel trilogy in a nutshell.
Yeah, the one thing I want to do on this show is go back and watch all the movies, and I think it'd be fun to do a watch along for some of them, but just even watching some of them on our own time and coming back and reviewing them, and like, just not in terms of the quality, but just going over the movie again and things we like and things we don't like and things we thought that they could have done better or shouldn't have done at all. I think it'd be fun to go through all the Star Wars movies like that.
Okay, things we think they shouldn't have done at all. Episode 1 and Episode 2, done.
I got to tell you, man, I've come so far around on the Phantom Menace. Like, I really honestly have. I still stand by there's too much Jar Jar, but I think the Phantom Menace is just a really good Star Wars film.
I agree.
I think you've drank too much of the Kool-Aid. But but I digress. All right, that is going to do it for...
Hang on, before we go to Super Star Wars, Ty wanted to know, what do we know about Skeleton Crew? Where's the trailer? Is it still releasing before the end of the year? No, it is not. In fact,
they haven't even finished filming yet, have they?
Well, they did, but it sounds like they want to go through extensive reshoots. Sounds like there was a lot of issues on set to a point this was supposed to come out before Star Wars The Acolyte. Star Wars The Acolyte's going to come out before Skeleton Crew now, and you might not see Skeleton Crew for another potentially 13 months from now. That's how far it's getting moved back. So whatever the reshoots are,
all over again.
I mean, why? Rogue One ended up turning out good though. So
you say that now, but I seem to remember some old days. I seem to remember standing outside of a cold theater, hearing very different opinions from you. But
classic buying into the hype of critics leaving Rogue One and calling it the best Star Wars movie ever, so it sets the expectations.
You had the opposite of recency bias for that film.
Yeah, definitely. No doubt about that.
But what do we know? That Jude Law's starring in it? Where's the trailer? They haven't finished filming yet. Is it still releasing before the end of the year? Not a chance in hell. So there's the answer to all three of your questions.
Next year. And,
maybe by the end of next year.
And I wouldn't rule out Grogu being in a new movie with Rey. I don't know if he'll be the apprentice or anything, but it's Baby Yoda. He sells things. So, I wouldn't rule it out from that perspective. Not saying there's going to be good storytelling reasons for it, but money.
Yeah. All right. Unless you're about to throw another thing at me. No? Okay. That is going to do it for the HoloNet this week. So turn off your transmitters, and it is now time to get into the final segment of the evening, and that is this week's Game and Share segment. We're on the wrong side. There we go. It is now time for this week's Game and Share segment, where a week ago I had these gentlemen shaking in their boots thinking I was about to make them review a completely different game, but we're not. We're talking Super Star Wars, which came out, I can't actually remember.
I think 1991, I heard on the trailer.
So,
by the way, did you watch the trailer that I posted in the chat, Johnny? Randy and I did, and it was...
I didn't see it, so no.
Okay, so hang on. Why don't we start with it? We'll probably get copyright strike on it, or not strike, but copyright hit on it. But I feel like we need to play this trailer, just so you have a fresh brush up on what it was like since you picked it. And I mean, it's just going to be the most incredible trailer you've ever seen in your life. I also love what Randy pointed out in the chat, but we'll get to that in a bit. Alrighty.
Elements from Lucasfilm Limited Star Wars movie. The engaging heroes, the horrific aliens, the terrorizing Imperial forces, the thrilling flying and fighting, the strange settings, and the mystifying powers of the Force, and adding interactivity. Players can choose to be Luke Skywalker, Han Solo, or Chewbacca to do battle with the dark side of the Force and determine the fate of the galaxy.
Obviously, this is winning Game of the Year for 1991, clearly.
92.
Super
92? Okay.
Yes.
Star Wars features 14 levels, each crammed with huge detailed graphics and smooth, realistic animation. Super Star Wars is a hit. From the burning deserts of Tatooine, the maze-like interior of a sandcrawler, the Mos Eisley Bar, to your final confrontation with the Star. All the action from the movie is here, but the outcome is up to you. Do you have what it takes?
The trench run doesn't look terrible for Super Nintendo.
No, it doesn't.
Find out with Super Star Wars, available now. Levels, each crammed with huge detailed graphics and smooth, realistic animation. Super Star Wars is a hit. From the burning deserts of Tatooine.
I really hope that's just like a pronunciation thing. Like he's saying Tatooine, but it's coming out like a Tatooine, like Tatooine.
He's saying
Tatooine.
Tant. There's a clear N in there. Tant.
It is, but I'm saying like phonetically, you can make the N sound without making the N or actually reading the N. I hope that's what this is, and this is
unless
just like
the dude's that
1992.
big of a fan of going Dantooine, even though it's Tatooine. It's one of those things where I heard that and went, wait a minute, and he just mixed the two planets together.
It's 1992, folks. What do you expect? Well, yes, the film released ironically on my birthday in 1992. Released November 1st, 1992 in North America. I picked this game mostly because I wanted to make the super joke last week. So, there isn't really an abundant place of joy that this pick comes from, other than it was my first Star Wars game as a child, because it was really the first Star Wars game that came out in my early life. You know, like I said, 92 release, so I was 4 when
So
it came out.
you were 4 when you played this game, which means you never beat it, huh?
No, I never did.
This game was terribly fucking hard. Thankfully, by the time I first played it, I think I was probably like 12. I had gotten a used Super Nintendo, and I was experiencing a lot of the games I didn't get to play. And when I had borrowed a Super Nintendo when I was younger, we had it for like a month, and Blockbuster never had any of the Super Star Wars games in. Not Super Empire Strikes Back, not Super Return of the Jedi. They had none of them. And yeah, fuck this game.
It was abundantly hard. I remember that.
I think I got like 3 levels in. That's my extent of play on this.
Yeah, young me is looking at this trailer and going, "Wait, there's a trench run sequence in this game? Where? What? That happened in this game?" I'm seeing things I never experienced in this game because I was like, 4, 5, 6 years old at the time I played it. So, I was not beating this game at all. Put a Mario game in front of me, I could beat that.
Middle-aged me is going, whoa, we don't get to be Obi-Wan. We don't get to be Leia. We don't get to be the droids. What the fuck?
So this is a game that, the nostalgia is good. Like, I remember being young and playing this game. I remember being frustrated with this game. Like, the land speeder sequences were frustrating as all hell. I remember that much. Like, I remember just getting lost. Like, in these land speeder sequences, like, this is an SNES game, damn it. I want linear A to B. I don't want to be able to get lost. But yet you could very easily get lost.
It sort of that shit in the Game Boy version where you could get lost in the Tatooine land speeder.
So it's like, you remember those things, and you remember getting lost and the nostalgia and and playing it. If memory serves, you didn't actually use a lightsaber in the first game?
No, you did. Yeah, you did.
Did you?
Yeah. You randomly even... So, like, you're pulling out the lightsaber against the worm there they show basically at, like, the end of the first or second level.
I don't remember that. But, like I said, it's been 30 years since I've played this game, so you'll excuse me if I don't remember it so well. Like I said, I picked it because I wanted to make the jokes. Sean, you've done yours. I've sort of done mine because, like I said, I was 4 or 5 years old. I don't really remember it all too well. But Randy, you're the elder statesman of the group. What do you remember about this game?
Yeah, thanks for reminding me.
Hey,
anyway,
you're the one who said you went to Return of the Jedi dressed up like Yoda. You opened that door. I'm just walking through.
You're not wrong.
By the way, before I forget to make this reference, because I was looking at Randy earlier in the show. Picture Randy without glasses right now, and he kind of looks like Triple H did when DX returned, when they had the big, they were making all the cock jokes, and they had the spray paint DX shirt, and he had the weird looking handlebar beard, but the rest of the beard was still there too. I don't know what the hell you call it, but you're giving me Triple H evolution into DX vibes, man.
Fair enough. But yes, I do see it too. Looking at like, oh, I guess I do see it. Yeah. So luckily I was able to, back in high school, I think it was probably 16. I was lucky enough back to when we actually traded games between friends. It's like, oh, you have that? Can I borrow that for a little bit? And that sort of thing actually happened versus trying to go to, Blockbuster or whatever local video store you had and rented a game or tried to find what you wanted to play and just didn't have it. Luckily, he had all 3 games, and I just remember loving the music at the time because, the last time you played a Star Wars game was on NES, and NES music wasn't exactly on par with what you're expecting Star Wars for. So the fact that you got some of the, you had some of the sound effects and the levels, even though, yes, they followed the movie loosely, at least there were some elements and stuff from the movie that kind of got you excited and you were just happy to be able to play it. Just like when you got to the trench run, actually being in the trench and having to fire the torpedoes and blow up the Death Star, stuff like that. It's just the fun of that. Plus, did a really good job with the digitized voices for what it was at the time. And I think but it was hard as hell. It was definitely one of those games where You had to write down the password. You had to set it aside for a little bit because you're just ready to break your controller and come back at it a different time. But for the time, it was definitely the best representation you had of Star Wars in video game form. JVC did a great job. Let's be honest. At least it wasn't LJN making this game, since they did almost every other movie-based title game, whether it was Nintendo or Super Nintendo, and they were all crap. But yeah, man, it was one of those things where it was just exciting to get to play Star Wars, to feel like you're playing through the movie, even though what we have now, I mean, shit, you're just so super immersed in what we have now compared to then. Still, it's just a great trip down in nostalgia.
It definitely, the nostalgia is strong with this game. I guess I remember it being ridiculously hard. I never went back to play it, even with the release. Did either of you try the re-release? I think it was the mid 20s.
PlayStation, right?
Yeah, I was PS4, and I maybe might have been Vita at the time, or PSP, one of the handhelds. I never went back and played it. Did either of you? Sean, you said no. Randy, did you?
No, I haven't.
No. It was a fun game. I enjoyed it when I didn't hate it, but I hated it more than I enjoyed it because, again, I was like 5-6 years old at the time. So hard games were not something I was signing up for at the time. I wanted my games to be easy and, hold my hand all the way through A to B. I wasn't yet at the point where I could handle the challenge.
Wait, so you're done beating up on baseball players in rookie mode? Is that not happening anymore?
Well, no, that still happens, but only when I'm like doing stat challenges.
I just say I seem to remember like some 47-1 scores and shit.
No, those were franchise games, and they were not easy. They were they were on like pro to all-star depending on the scores. I just got a lot better at games because I grew up and learned how to control my thumbs to hand-eye coordination, and my timing improved, and
TBD.
But TV's also improved. That has helped a lot.
Yeah, no doubt there.
Input lag started disappearing. That was great too. But I digress. So that's going to do it for this week's show. So
hang on, Randy's got a reveal.
I'm getting to that.
I wasn't sure if you forgot it.
No, I hadn't forgotten. That was right before we went into full
God,
outros.
don't say Super Bombad Racing. Don't do it.
What the hell, man? I'm not that big of an asshole.
So, since we have gotten through this week's Game and Share, obviously we rotate and each pick every week. We've added this as sort of a part of the show each week where we announce the games and we get live reactions from the two co-hosts who didn't pick it and the audience as well. So this week, the choice belongs to the man above me. Randy, the Game and Share for next week's is yours. So, Randy, what game will we be discussing next week?
So then, rather than really showing my age, which I thought about doing, I've thought about making you guys suffer through the actual original Star Wars arcade game, and I won't do that to you because, I remember playing that in bars and stuff growing up in arcades. I'm going to go with something more recent, something I know I would assume all of us had played. But I'm going to go with The Force Unleashed.
Excellent.
I approve.
That is an excellent choice. So next week we will be talking Star Wars The Force Unleashed.
And the whole show will just be me bragging about making stormtroopers do all sorts of weird movements in midair. So
he will also be discussing his visceral enjoyment of throwing Wookiees off of platforms on Kashyyyk.
I can't wait till I get to tell you guys my next game. It's going to be interesting. I won't change it.
I'm not. I don't know. After all of this, I feel like there's a high probability that you're going to go Super Bombad Racing. But there's equally as high a probability you're going to pick like Masters of Terraskasi. So, you know, we'll have to wait and see. Next week we will hear what Sean's game is after we discuss next week's game, which is Star Wars: The Force Unleashed. So it is now time for us to say sayonara, so long, and farewell. We hope you guys enjoyed this week's episode. So for all of us here on this show, myself, Brandy, Sean, we thank you guys for watching, whether you're watching live or watching later, whether you're interacting with us in the chat or not. We hope that you are, because that helps us defeat the algorithm. So wherever you're watching, listening to this, we hope you click the like, click the thumbs up, click the subscribe button, click the bell, leave a comment. It helps us defeat the algorithm. And of course, you can find us on all of these other platforms. You can find us on Facebook and Twitter, X, whatever you would like to call that, a platform that is slowly bleeding out, at Fandom Empire now. And of course, if you like our content and would like to contribute further, you can become a member of our Patreon platform, patreon.com/Fandom Empire, where we bring you guys content over there that is exclusive to the Patreon platform, including our post-show, The Wastelands of Fandom, where we talk about whatever it is we feel like talking about, from games to movies to TV to sports to really whatever the heck we want to talk about, for, anywhere from 15 to 20 minutes to 45 minutes to an hour, depending on how chatty we're feeling and how long we go on this show. So yeah, don't forget to, like I said, hit the like button, subscribe, /notification bell, all of those fun things, and check out all the other content available here on the Fandom Empire YouTube page, including tonight in Haddonfield on Mondays at 10, and all of the other pop-up content that we have that we push whenever there's something we feel like discussing, be that news of Halloween or anything else that pops our fancy here as content providers. So for Sean, for Randy, I'm Johnny. We'll see you next week for another episode of the Legacy of Star Wars podcast, brought to you by Fandom Empire. We'll see you next week. And may the Force be with you.